All right, before I get started, might as well give you guys TA. Somehow, some way, we perfectly rejected the trend line again. However, these are good pivots. They were formed on the 1 minute during an extremely strong uptrend, but if you take a look at these pivots, they're actually very big pivots. I mean, we dropped, you know, 120 points on ES before it reversed. So these pivots might not seem big in context with the massive run, but these are nice pivots here, and this is all we have. It looks like price action's going down to them, so I have to lean bearish for that. Uh, as far as this morning's trades goes, that's what I'm going to be reviewing real quick. It's going to be quick. I'm just trying to keep my green days and red days light, um, options wise and futures wise, because I'm just trying to get through this period of uncertainty so we can get back to normal trading. But NQ also has these pivots down here, so I am bearish for ES to get down to these pivots. You know, I'm not bullish unless ES gets all the way back up here ish, and then the trend line will look really good to break because it is pretty much a perfect 3-point touch trend line. Uh, but that's the only analysis that I have. I stopped trading fairly early. I stopped trading right here. Actually, not 30-ish minutes. It's kind of been the average lately. My mornings have been quick, man, and they've been really good. Except yesterday. Yesterday, I did not do a trade review because I took one trade, sold it at break even because NQ went 100 points in my favor. My contracts didn't move. I sold it, which was a great sell because it came all the way back down, dropped 100 points back to where I entered, and the contracts were down like 30-ish, 35%. But Trump tweeted that it was a good time to buy. The market shot up, and then the calls ended up doing well. But anyways, I'll review this morning's trades. And we're in a really weird spot because yesterday was a record-breaking day. I don't know of a day that had this big of a run intraday. And it's absolutely mind-blowing that Trump, uh, right around here, tweeted, this is a great time to buy, or whatever he said. I don't know, I don't know the last time where we had presidents giving insider trades on the economy, but it is actually crazy. But anyways, yeah. Uh, from the nightly low, the S&P 500 ran up to a high of 13.4%. The market only averaged 8% over an entire year. So this is, average is 8% gains a year. This ran 13.4% from the lows. Absolutely just like, what am I going to do after this? Like, yeah, I'm bullish for the supply to break, but like, it completely disorients your TA. But anyways, this is what I was working with initially. We got this trend line here. We are chopping down at the moment. However, I do have this pivot here, which I'm somewhat leaning bearish for. But not super bearish because if we invalidate this drop, I'm triggered into calls because, invalidate the drop. We have a nice trend line to break to the upside. It will look pretty good. So if we go up, I'm going to have to get in calls. Otherwise, I might have to get into puts at market open. It's tough to tell. But here's market open here. We shoot up. Not quite enough to get into calls. And I wasn't even ready to trade yet, to be completely honest, at market open. We shot down. I just now realized that I said good morning team at 6:32. Right now it's 6:31 my time. I would have entered. I'm just now realizing that I got to the market late this morning. No, I think I got there at market open, but it takes me a while to set up my options on my active trader as far as the strike prices for SPX calls and puts and QQQ calls and puts because the IV is so high, the strikes are hundreds of points out, like the calls this morning, and I went a little bit more expensive on the calls. The calls were 55.75 calls, and we're in the 5300s on ES and probably low 54s on SPX. I didn't check. But honestly, looking back on it, I probably would have taken. Yeah, I'm triggered into puts on this handle. So I guess it's by luck that I missed this. Yeah, I didn't realize this until this session. By the way, is this a perfect double top that I missed? 7. Oh, this is a perfect double top. Everyone mark this level on your chart. So next time price action comes anywhere up here, very likely to continue. Right? If it comes within, 20-ish points of this high, great trade. I'm hoping that's my afternoon trade for my future strategy. As you guys know, I sat out my futures trading day yesterday. Too volatile, just in FOMC. It was only minutes, but with Trump thing, it's like I don't want to risk it. Would have been a massive green trade. 1750 ticks on NQ is what it would have been. The day before was 1680 ticks on NQ. But I set out. But anyways, I would have entered puts here if I was ready to trade it this second. I was not ready, so that's just luck. We end up bouncing, and looking back on it, I probably should have entered. This is a little bit better of an entry for QQQ calls. The thing is, though, it was a little delayed because ES is so close to this level. ES is weaker than NQ. I still want to be available for puts. But really early into this, not this candle, the next candle, I pull the trigger on QQQ calls. Unfortunately, this was the one trade that was technically avoidable. Unfortunately, I got in at like 12 seconds left in the candle. Uh, right after I got in, it put in this huge selling wick. So this trade was kind of doomed from the start, and that's just by luck. Like, there's not much you can do about that. But from the start, it was just kind of doomed. If I would have waited 3 more seconds, then I wouldn't have got into this trade because of the selling wick. Not even 3, literally 2 more seconds. Right after I got in, it put in this massive selling wick. I didn't buy the top either. I had a tiny selling wick, which was fine when I entered. But this was the first trade that I took. KQQ calls here. And I stopped out pretty quickly. And before I got out of this trade, I told you guys, because obviously I know it's going to be fast. Look how close the PT is on ES. I said the second I stop out of these QQQ calls, I am in SPX puts. I already have them filled in on my active trader. All I have to do is hit market buy. And it is a market buy. Here it was. And this is incorrect, actually. My stop loss was right here. In my PT, my initial PT that I was going for was, I think it was actually up here, but I wasn't actually kind of going for that. I was more so looking for this to just kind of trim, which is pretty much the 1-to-1 risk to reward. But anyways, it was really close. I finally stopped out right when this green candle invalidated. Plus, I already had a little bit more bearish bias, so I was really trigger happy to stop out of these. I sold these at 104 for minus 19%. I sold them right here. In the exact same instance, I filled SPX puts and I filled right here. Now, this candle wasn't instantaneous. It was fairly fast, though. I was able to stop out and fill SPX puts in the same spot. And the SPX puts that I filled were the 55 puts at 3.1 here. So it already got to my PT, but I'm not selling. I trimmed a single contract. I'm not selling because I'm bearish for NQ low. Well, you guys got lucky because we bounced super hard. So if you missed your stop loss on QQQ calls, it went all the way back up to break even at 1.3. So you guys probably did better than me if you were delayed. And the SPX puts came all the way down to, I think, my break even average, if not like 3.2. I definitely saw it hit 3.2. It might have filled 3.1 if you had a limit order. But the big thing that I noticed here was the put premiums indicated bearish price action. Because even though now it's above my entry, I wasn't red on the trade. I pretty much never, I literally never saw red on this trade. So that was a very, very, very good sign, right? But anyways, if you missed the QQQ stop loss, you got it. If you missed the SPX entry, you got it. Give or take, 10 cents a contract. But this was concerning. I was thinking I was going to get stopped out of 2 trades in a row. I was lucky and I didn't. And I sold when NQ hit low of day. I don't I didn't sell all of it. I started selling towards the end of this candle and then sold the rest on this one. Because that is a reversal candle. So I got 25% gains on this. I think I averaged 20%. So I'm actually green on the day now, just barely. I'm green by just a couple of percent. And I could be green by one trade if I just didn't stop out of my QQQ calls, but never are you allowed to not stop out of something. So anyway, so we're pretty much back to square one. Very, very slight green on the day now. And I have these trend lines set up. And if we invalidate most of this drop, I'm in calls. I was trying really hard to decipher which one was stronger, which one wasn't stronger. They were so close. The NQ was weaker here at the end, but now it seems to be flipping stronger. I couldn't tell. So on this candle here, it actually closed red, which was nice. I actually got a decent fill. I filled SPX calls and QQQ calls half size. And this isn't and no plans to average down. I'm with normal size leverage. If my average trade is 2-3 grand, I have 2-3 grand worth of calls altogether, right? So anyways, sorry, I had an itchy face. Yeah, this is a trade I was looking at. Half size in each, no idea which is stronger. And this is a good trade. I mean, pretty much a majority. It's a little early on purpose. It is a little early. At the time I entered, it was roughly right at 50% of the move invalidated. So it is a bit early, but I like the trend line. I like the liquidity sweep on that pivot on NQ. It looks decent to break to the upside. But realistically, after yesterday, I'm just trying to lock in gains. So if it gets to the trend line or gets close to it, and my trend line on NQ was actually right here at the time, I was going to trim half. Well, I did trim half on this candle, and it wasn't a hard decision to do so because this candle was a really weird candle. I know that we had Fed speakers coming up. Okay, we had 2 Fed speakers talking at 7 a.m. my time, 30 minutes after market open. This was a massive candle. It shot down red, dropped my position into the red, and then shot up green. Plus, we have news coming out soon. I don't know if this is going to reject the trend line. I don't know if it's just going to sweep the trend line and go back down. It was a pretty easy decision for me to sell half. So I did. I trimmed half. And as I was typing the alert, the next candle started. I sent out the alert. It's safe to say that if you didn't trim half on your own, you didn't get it. And that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you guys get a way better entry than me. Sometimes I get a better exit. It's whatever. So now I'm thinking, well, it's probably going to stop out. I don't know if I'm going to be red. And, it looked like NQ wanted to go down, but also looked like ES wanted to go up. ES was clearly stronger than NQ, but I ended up stopping out. And, it is what it is. That trade actually ended red. The QQQ calls really didn't move much on the upside. The QQQ premium seemed rather bearish, and you can see that it started flipping weak there. I got 9% on QQQ calls and 16% on SPX calls. And that's only half size. Well, I sold on this candle right when it started invalidating the buying wick. I sold for minus 15% and minus 11% for the last half. So I finished the trade red. Very, very small red on the trade, just a few percent. Smallest red trade I really ever have. But now I was pretty much break even on the day. I think I might have actually been green by literally a few dollars, less than $10. So I was pretty much break even on the day now. I had one red trade, one green trade that was slightly bigger than that red trade, and then I had one slightly red trade to pretty much cancel out the green trade. So now the problem here is I'm unable to enter puts. You guys know when it's chopping down or chopping up, there is no money to be made for me. I cannot make money. My strategy doesn't allow it. And that's okay. You don't need to make money during every single situation. Hell, you're not supposed to, or you're going to lose your psychology and blow your accounts because you're always trying to force yourself to be green. Plenty of you guys can relate to that. But yeah, chopping down, never going to make money. The only reason why I had that green trade was because of pivot swept, right? If no pivot swept and the market's either perfectly chopping sideways, but the oscillations are large enough to trigger me in. Like this is a huge oscillation. This isn't just like barely chopping down. I mean, this is a huge oscillation. This is 160 points on NQ. Like an insane, like insanely large oscillations. There's no avoiding it, which is okay though, because a vast majority of the mornings don't chop down or chop up or chop sideways. And a lot of the times it's chopping, I'm still able to make money as long as one pivot gets swept or at least one consolidatory pattern plays out. I'm still going to make money, right? Um, but as long as your setups or your circumstances that will always cause you to be red happen less than I'd say 35% of the time, you're good to go. But anyways, I can't enter puts now. I technically could be triggered in if I want to because it did validate most of the bounce, but we're chopping down. We just swept a pivot. I don't do puts unless when we're chopping down unless you're going to see NQ get low of day here. There it is. I said unless because now NQ is a lot weaker. ES bounces before low of day, invalidates the bounce, and I take NQ shorts for this pivot down here. Or KQQ calls. Depends what I'm trading. But if that doesn't happen, I'm either waiting to get back into calls up here, or I'm waiting for it to break to the downside of this channel. So now that the channel is invalidated, the chopping down is invalidated, and now I can just play bearish consolidation. And that's what ended up happening for my final trade. We end up dropping good. We got a nice bounce. I'm like, okay, you know what? I really like these pivots down here. I do. I want to play to them. If we invalidate this bounce, I'm willing to hop into puts. Half size. And I will go full size if it completes a consolidation, but half size because I'm going to enter before the consolidation is complete. I filled puts early, right after the close of this candle into the next one. Pretty much right when it invalidated 50%, which is why I filled half size. You can see there. Technically, the PT's the grand PT's all the way down here, but I'm not looking for that. I'm half size. I'm looking to average down at some point. And I want to trim that half at low of day. If it just goes straight down, I don't know what I'm going to do, to be completely honest. I'm just going to manage it. So we start dropping. It's good. And then we bounce. I fill my second half on this bounce as it starts kind of rotating down, which was during this candle here. Even though the trade was technically in the red, the puts were showing bearish upcoming price action. The puts were holding premium very well. I didn't dip into the red. I entered these puts at 3.1, just like my previous trade. I entered these puts at 3.1. These contracts did not dip below 3.1. I ended up filling 3.1 again for my second half because now this is a confirmed bear pennant. And I did happen to break to the downside. I'm like, you know what? I'm out if NQ gets a new low of day. So that was the grand plan. NQ got new low of day. We got a reversal candle here. And I sold everything except runners because I was happy with my gains. I'm like, okay, now today's a mild green day. I'm up by one trade. I'll take that any day, right? I'm up by one complete 25% trade. I had a single contract left for my grand PT, and I'll be out if it bounces. Sure enough, I sold the bottom, and I sold the last bit on this reversal candle here at 713. 713, you can see my alert out because it's bouncing too hard and it's chopping down. Sure enough, it did end up reversing to the upside, so I literally sold low of day. But that concluded my morning's options trade, just one green trade, and this is very chop. This is a lot of chop. I hate chopping down, but I feel I navigated it pretty good this morning. And let's see how that alert I gave you at the beginning of this recording went. Are we at the pivot? No, we are not, but we are making work. We're on our way. So, yeah, these pivots are my bearish PTs. Aside from that, you're going to have to use fibs. Um, but I'm really hoping by the end of the day, we can come all the way back up and my futures trade can be here. That would be awesome. I really like that pivot. This is a perfect double top. Make sure you keep this on your charts, guys. I'm very bullish for this level. Honestly, even when we even get to here, maybe even lower. I'm gonna have to enter lower, but yeah. With that being said, that covers all this morning's options trades. Do any of you guys have any questions regarding the trades I took or the TA behind those trades? No questions? Everyone's good? All right. Regarding the Aurora study bot, still gonna make some updates. Leaderboard needs to be an admin only command, so everyone doesn't get pinged. Um, and the reason all of you guys that were in yesterday's study session were server muted, you guys were not unmuted because the bot got rate limited by Discord. So I coded it to just um, unmute 10 people no more than 10 people per second. Right? So if you want to be unserver muted, just attend the study session today. If you guys can't stay for the entire study session, just mute the volume and go AFK. Leave your Discord user in it because the bot should, now especially, it is kind of XP farming, honestly, but the XP isn't that deep, I guess. But anyways, if you just AFK, the bot will server unmute you. It'll unserver mute you at the end of the video and will automatically disconnect you from the voice channel 10 minutes after the video ends. So it looks like those pivots are going to hit. But don't give in to FOMO. If you're done trading, you're done trading. If you're not able to be formally triggered in by your strategy, which you have back tested, you're not in. We see a lot of soldiers falling to FOMO lately, and we can't be having that. But all right, sweet. I will see you guys later. And Rikai asks, can anyone start / schedule a watch together section? By the way, that is first pivot hit. You know, I really enjoy giving you guys these great TA predictions at the beginning of these trade reviews because it's funny watching everyone that was too lazy or lame to attend these trade reviews live watch the trade reviews back and see that they missed out on a fantastic trade that was given to them in this voice. And that is a reversal candle. Don't know if it's going to reverse though. Rakai, can anyone start / schedule a watch together session? No. No. And the reason for that is like some troll can come in here and just schedule a watch together session of something inappropriate. However, as far as the mentorship groups, if you guys want to do study sessions, Rikai and whatnot, that's fine. Just let me know. And for your guys' group 1 VC or group 2, whatever group you're in, I can give that VC permission so you guys can do whatever you want there. And I'll probably just do that anyways. But all right, well, that is it. That's all I have. Good luck if you continue trading. I will see how this afternoon goes with my futures trading. And yeah, play safe. Don't risk your entire account just for one trade. I mean, it goes without saying. But all right, you guys have a blessed rest of your day. Let me know if you guys need anything, and I will ping you guys when this is up on YouTube.